Ethan's day began like any other, but soon took a dramatic turn when he stumbled upon a puppy seemingly trapped in a dire situation. Initially intending to rescue the helpless creature, Ethan quickly realized the gravity of the situation was far beyond a simple animal rescue. His sharp eyes caught sight of something suspicious, a small, explosive device tied to the puppy's entrapment. Alarmed, he immediately dialed 911, understanding that this situation required urgent professional intervention. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more amazing stories. The 911 operator was initially skeptical, thinking the call might be better suited for animal rescue services. However, Ethan's detailed and urgent explanation of the situation quickly conveyed the seriousness of the threat, prompting her to dispatch multiple emergency units to the scene. She instructed Ethan to keep bystanders at a safe distance from the puppy, emphasizing the potential danger. As more people began to gather, drawn by the puppy's plight, Ethan found himself in the challenging position of keeping curious onlookers away. Initially suspicious of Ethan's intentions, the crowd quickly understood the danger when he explained the presence of the explosive device. The puppy's sad and confused eyes tugged at Ethan's heart, and he hoped the little creature could hold on a bit longer until help arrived. Soon, the sound of sirens pierced the air, signaling the arrival of the police and a bomb squad. The urgency of the response underscored the potential threat posed by the explosive. The police swiftly established a perimeter, ensuring the safety of everyone present, while the bomb squad prepared to defuse the device. Ethan watched anxiously, hoping that the experts could free the puppy without triggering a disaster. The bomb squad, working with remarkable efficiency, carefully removed the explosive device and secured it in a safe container. With the threat neutralized, other officers moved in to free the puppy, signaling that the area was once again safe. The scene, though chaotic, was now under control. An officer approached Ethan to discuss the situation, leaving the crowd buzzing with curiosity about the events that had just unfolded. The officer's questions about why the puppy was trapped felt weighty, and Ethan had no answers, only a profound sense of relief that the immediate danger had passed. Animal rescue soon arrived and gently took the puppy on a stretcher, reassuring Ethan that it was in good hands. At the police station, Ethan recounted the morning's events to two officers who listened intently, taking detailed notes as he described the discovery and the bomb squad's swift response. Outside, another officer cordoned off the area, gathering clues vital to the ongoing investigation. As Ethan was driven to the station, an officer reassured him that he wasn't in trouble, acknowledging his commendable intent to help. Relieved but still worried, Ethan explained everything again at the station. An officer revealed that this incident was not an isolated case. There had been other similar incidents involving puppies in recent weeks. Ethan was horrified to learn that someone was methodically targeting stray puppies, and he felt a surge of frustration at the lack of urgency in finding the perpetrator. Back home, Ethan was determined to find answers. He believed there must be someone with information and was ready to pursue any lead. His laptop became his command center as he searched the internet for similar cases, scouring forums, social media, and news archives. Eventually, he found a Reddit post about a dog trapped with explosives. Though buried and nearly ignored, it was his first solid lead. Ethan messaged the poster, Michael, explaining his urgent need for information. To his surprise, Michael replied quickly, understanding the urgency. They exchanged details, with Ethan recounting the puppy incident and police involvement. Michael listened intently, responding with speed, providing Ethan with a glimmer of hope in his pursuit of uncovering the truth behind these disturbing events. The connection between Ethan and Michael was forged through their shared concern over a disturbing trend involving dogs. Michael, previously just a local resident, had encountered a horrifying scene where he found a puppy in peril. Fortunately, a police officer was nearby to help, but the incident left Michael hoping it was an isolated event. His relief was mixed with dread upon discovering Ethan had faced a similar situation. This realization sparked a deep concern and reignited Michael's determination to take action against the cruelty they both witnessed. Ethan's story stirred a strong desire in Michael to address the issue. He suggested teaming up with Ethan to pool their resources and information to track down the perpetrator responsible for the recurring incidents. Both men felt that the police were underestimating the seriousness of these threats to animals and agreed that they needed to take matters into their own hands. Their conversation was filled with planning and determination to stop the cycle of violence. The two met at the scene of Ethan's earlier encounter, where the area appeared normal, a stark contrast to the chaos of the morning. Ethan recounted finding the puppy and the subsequent arrival of the police. Michael, having experienced a similar ordeal, listened intently. A crucial difference surfaced. The puppy Michael found was clean and well cared for, unlike the stray Ethan had encountered. This discrepancy puzzled them and suggested a potential clue leading to the perpetrator. Reflecting on the puppy's condition, Ethan speculated that the first victim might have been the perpetrator's own pet. This grim theory suggested a deeper level of malice and planning. Determined to track down the dog and, through it, its owner, they began by visiting a local shelter, their best lead at the moment. At the shelter, Ethan found the puppy he had saved, safely behind a glass partition. Michael described the dog he found to a shelter employee, who recognized it and led them to the kennels. The dog perked up upon seeing Michael, confirming it was the one he had saved. Ethan learned that the dog was chipped, which could provide a crucial lead. The chip led them to an owner, an elderly man who admitted to abandoning the dog months ago. This revelation was disheartening, as it seemed to be a dead end. However, Michael wasn't convinced by the man's claim, noting the dog's well-kept appearance. His persistence led the shelter employee to provide a name and address. With this new information, Ethan and Michael set out to confront the owner, Kyle. The journey took them to a neglected house, suggesting Kyle was home. The tension was palpable as they knocked on the door, and Kyle's guarded annoyance upon answering heightened the anxiety. Michael's insistence on understanding the truth, not driven by revenge but by a need for answers, became evident as he pressed Kyle for a reason behind his actions. Kyle's vague explanations and hesitance suggested he was withholding something significant. Despite the potential for conflict, Ethan and Michael were determined to uncover the truth behind the mysterious circumstances surrounding the dogs. Kyle hesitated under the scrutiny of Ethan and Michael, his explanations sounding more like excuses. Ethan observed closely, his skepticism mounting as Kyle struggled to provide straightforward answers, suggesting he wasn't entirely truthful about his connection to the dog. With Kyle's resistance apparent, Michael threatened to involve the police, a prospect that visibly unsettled Kyle given his link to the chipped dog. Michael's firm stance, emphasizing police involvement, left Kyle with little room for evasion. The threat of legal action weighed heavily on Kyle, leading him to concede. Kyle finally admitted, "All right, I'll tell you," with a mix of defeat and relief. The barrier he had maintained began to crumble as he prepared to reveal the dog's true story. Ethan and Michael leaned in, ready to hear the crucial information that had brought them to Kyle. Kyle divulged a surprising twist. The dog was never his. He had bought it for his son, who was prohibited from owning animals due to a troubled past. "It's all in my name, but it was for him," Kyle explained, his voice softening. This revelation added complexity to the investigation, highlighting underlying family dynamics. Kyle recounted his son's troubled history and the restrictions that barred him from pet ownership. Despite these obstacles, his son longed for a dog's companionship. Torn between law and paternal love, Kyle eventually acquiesced, hoping a pet might guide his son towards a better path. However, this act of love was marred by unforeseen consequences, leaving Kyle with regret and concern. Until now, Kyle had assumed the dog had simply run off, so discovering it had ended up in a shelter was both a shock and a relief, as it meant the dog was safe. Nonetheless, his concern about his son's potential involvement in more sinister activities grew. Kyle then shared his son's name, Tim, and addressed a challenging decision as he grappled with family loyalty and moral duty. Despite hoping his son was uninvolved, evidence and his suspicions suggested otherwise. Reluctantly, Kyle recognized that should his son be responsible, he needed to face the consequences, believing justice was paramount. With Tim's details, Ethan promptly contacted the police, stressing the urgency of the situation. Recognizing the severity of the allegations and potential danger, the police responded swiftly, underscoring the seriousness of the tip-off about Tim. Tim lived within city limits, making his apprehension straightforward. His arrest was quick, almost before Ethan and Michael could fully process the rapid developments. The compelling evidence against Tim left little doubt about his involvement in the distressing incidents. Inside Tim's home, police found chilling tools and materials for making small explosives. The backyard revealed an even more disheartening sight. At least 5 stray dogs were locked up, their eyes filled with fear. This grim discovery confirmed Tim's deep involvement in the crimes and hinted at his dangerous intentions. At the station, overwhelmed by evidence, Tim unraveled quickly. The police pressed him for answers, seeking to understand the motives behind his alarming actions. Surprisingly, it took little for Tim to confess. His admission was a mix of defiance and remorse, hinting at deeper issues. Tim confessed to a deep love for dogs, tainted by resentment towards a society that denied him pets due to his criminal record. This resentment grew over time, twisting his affection into something dark. He saw his actions as revenge against perceived injustices and a warped message to the world. Tim's logic was distorted, driven by the belief that drastic actions would highlight the unfairness of his situation. Trapping dogs with explosives was his way of making a point, showing the extremity of his exclusion from a joy allowed to others. This dangerous route was his protest against a rule that barred him from owning dogs, a misguided attempt to draw attention to his plight. Now, Tim faces trial, with the evidence painting a grim future likely involving significant prison time due to the danger he posed to innocent lives. In a heartening turn, the puppies involved in these incidents were all placed in caring homes, thanks to the efforts of animal rescue organizations and the community's support. Ethan and Michael, bonded by their shared ordeal, remained in touch, committed to advocating for animal welfare and raising awareness about the importance of vigilance against cruelty. Their determination had not only led to justice but also underscored the power of compassion and the impact of taking a stand against wrongdoing.